Okay, so 7th grade, my first trip was to Washington, D.C. And 7th grade, first trip, I didn't really have any expectations of what was gonna happen. And I think looking back, comparing that trip to all the other ones that I've been on, that trip was so different in that, we were going to all the different places of our country and like memorials in the Capitol. And one of my memories is of us singing in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and a bunch of, foreign exchange students were walking by, and they stopped to listen to us. And at the time we had like a flash mob, and so they started dancing with us, and that was just so cool because while they didn't completely understand, what we were singing about or the reason why we were there, we were able to share Christ's love with them through our passion and just how much fun we had dancing and singing. And I think eventually they kind of got up in the stands with us and started singing along and dancing and everything. So that was really cool. And then as we visited the different memorials and places, you just look and you see how our country was founded with God in the center of it. And fast forward to today, we've kind of lost that innocence. And so that trip just really taught me basically about going to those places where God's supposed to be talked about a lot and mentioned, and he really isn't. And so 8th grade, South Carolina, Greenville, that trip was just so cool. Mark led us because we didn't have a director at the time, and I think what I really learned from that trip was the power of prayer. Mark was constantly reminding us, we need to stop and pray about this, we need to stop and pray about this. And we were going to perform, I think it was one of our first concerts, and it was forecasted to rain that day, not just rain, pour. And it had been pouring, I guess, leading up to that point. And they were like, oh, there's no way you're gonna be able to perform, it's gonna rain. And we're like, okay, we need to pray about this. We're here in Greenville for a reason. Why would it just pour, and why would our concert be canceled? And one of the songs that we had that year talked about opening up the heavens and God raining down on us. And so it was kind of cloudy during the day, and then we started singing that song, and literally, I think as soon as that line hit, Kara was singing, as soon as that line hit, the sky just opened, and it was just sunshine. And it was so cool. It was okay, it's not raining, but God's raining on us. This is cool. And so I learned about the power of prayer in that one, and also how, we can make a bunch of plans and how we want things to go, but ultimately, God's gonna steer us in the direction of how he wants his plans to go. And I mean, that's totally applicable to my life, and especially now, looking towards college, I can make as many plans as I want, but God's ultimately gonna direct me in the way that he has planned for me to go. And also in that trip, I think we had planned to do several different things and ended up not doing them. One night we took a nap instead of going to a concert. So it's just little things like that. And then my 9th grade year, we went to Florida. That was a good trip. I think it really bonded us as a student ministry. And I just remember my family group getting so in-depth in topics, and us really becoming close and open and vulnerable. And I think that was a big thing that I learned, was being vulnerable with other followers of Christ, and how that can lead you closer to Christ. And then 10th grade, we went to San Francisco, and that trip taught me a lot about, we worked with City Impact, and their big thing was intervening and building intentional relationships. And that really taught me about, if I'm going to share my faith with somebody, I have to be intentional about it. I can't just mention it every so often. I have to be intentional about it. I have to pray about it. I have to continuously just pay attention to that person and what's going on in their life, praying for them specifically, and just being intentional. I know I've said that a lot, but that was the main thing. And I mean, we worked in an inner city, somewhere nothing like we've ever seen before, and at times it was scary. But I think also I learned, trusting in God. We were there for a reason, we've gone on all the other trips for a reason, and he had put us there for a reason. And so there wasn't any reason to fear or be scared, while, we could have been oh my gosh, we're not supposed to be here, there's police sirens everywhere, there's gunshots sometimes, so I think that was huge. And then this last year, we went to Colorado, And that was really cool. I think the biggest thing for me was being in the mountains and just finding rest in God and really discovering who God is and what it's like to just sit and be still in His presence and getting to know Him and His Holy Spirit. And I really took advantage of my quiet times, sitting up in the mountains and on a rock and just admiring how everything that God's created, from the flowers to the trees, all the plants, like they're all pointing upwards to Him and giving Him the glory. So why am I not doing that when I sometimes feel like I could do more than the plants, So that was kind of earthy, but anyway, that was Colorado. So I think each trip is just so different in what you learn and just like where you go. And I'm so excited about this trip because I've never been anywhere close to Tennessee. So I don't know what's out there, but I'm so excited. So I just really appreciate these trips, and I come back home learning something different each year, and I'm so excited for you guys to experience something new, because I know each of you that have been on the trip have learned something already, and the things that we learn, you don't forget them. There's specific things from each one, and you walk away and you're like, wow, that really changed my life. I'm not gonna forget that. And I even look back now at all my journals and all the notes that I've kept from different sermons and different churches that we went to on these trips, and I'm just reminded of how God works throughout my life and how He's constantly teaching me things, and I'm constantly, growing closer to Him and wanting to know more about who He is and what He has planned for my life. So, yeah.